Hey there, and welcome to the Confident Chemistry Teacher Podcast. I'm Kim, your go-to chemistry coach for engaging teaching strategies and solutions to the everyday challenges chemistry teachers face. Let's get this reaction started. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Confident Chemistry Teacher Podcast. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to apologize up front and say that this episode is going to be a tiny bit ranty in the beginning, and then it'll have some practical tips and strategies to help you out. And so if you looked at the title of the episode, when graduation is the goal and learning is not. I think I've mentioned a couple of times that I switched schools this year, and the new school is great. The admin is amazing, the teachers are amazing, but the kids at the school are just on a slightly, I'm going to say, lower level than at my previous school. Let me talk about the idea about graduation is the goal and not learning. So in my district, schools and principals are evaluated on their graduation rate. We used to have these things called end of course exams that kids had to pass to graduate, but we don't have those anymore. So there's no incentive for the kids to learn, but there is an incentive to pass the kids, if that makes sense. And of course, my admin want my kids to learn, but that's not what they're being evaluated on. And so actually in our district, if you have more than 20% of your kids failing at the progress report or at the end of the quarter, you have to meet with your administrator and explain what you're doing to help the students learn. And they always say you're not in trouble, but anytime you have to meet with your supervisor because something's not happening in your classroom, it really does feel, at least for me, that I am in trouble. And so this year, I actually had up to 40% of my kids were failing at one point. And I just didn't realize the hand holding that I needed to do with the students and the additional accommodations that I needed to make. So I'll explain that a little bit as we go. Also, at my new school, the students just don't seem as focused on learning. At my previous school, I had a little bit more parent support, and the students came from an amazing middle school where they really set them up for success at the high school level. At this new school, I have a way higher transiency rate. I think I said that right. So I have a lot of kids entering the school and leaving the school. And then at the middle schools, I just don't think they're as well structured, and I've heard from other people that they're not as well structured as the middle school that the kids went to in the previous school. Another thing at my current school is that students are allowed to use their notes on tests and quizzes. And I've pushed back against that this year because I really feel like the kids really need to keep some of this information in their brain. So I am letting kids use their notes on the quizzes, but I am not letting them use them on the tests. What I am letting them use is a study guide. So the students have to actually complete the study guide on their own. I give them class time for it, and I'll help them out if they have questions. But a lot of times the notes and other assignments, I'm really having to guide them, write this down. Now write this down. And so I'm not doing that with a study guide. So I feel like at least the students have to put a little bit more effort into completing the study guide. And I know a lot of people are going to say, why not let them use notes? You've got to write more complicated questions. I really feel like chemistry is like an introductory course. I want them to be familiar with vocabulary. I want them to understand basic concepts and be able to explain things like that. At my chemistry 1 level, I'm really just trying to get them to understand, like I said, the basics of things. I'm not really trying to ask them complicated questions because I really feel like those more complicated questions should come after the students have a knowledge of the content. And like I said, that's the point of Chem 1, is just to get that beginner content. So rant is done. I'm just on the struggle bus with some of my students right now. So a couple of things that I have done is I have put up some behavior posters in my classroom. I have taught for 18 years and I've never had to put up this is what you do when you walk in. This is what you do before you leave. I've always been able to just explain these concepts and then have the kids just follow them. But again, we're on the struggle bus here. So it's nice to have those posters up there and be able to reference to, hey, this is what you should be doing. There's no excuse for not being able to do it. And so some of the posters I put up are really simple. What are the rules? What do you do at the beginning of class? What are the daily class materials that you should have? I also put how to head a paper, how to calculate your grade, and like the letter grades. I had a student the other day ask me, is a 55% a good grade? And I was like, no. And then I realized they don't know like what their letter grade percentages mean. And then also voice level. So my students are just having some behavior issues in class. So I thought these behavior posters would reinforce some of the concepts that I've been trying to teach them this year. I also have been really hounding them for their assignments more often. My supervisor said that she observed another teacher going through a student's backpack and she really appreciated that, looking for assignments. And I'm just not that touchy-feely that I'm going to go through some kids' backpacks, although I definitely now have been standing over them as they go through their own backpack to find these materials. I have an assignment sheet. It doesn't have the students' grades on it, so if another student sees it, but it does just have a bunch of M's on there for missing. And so I'm able to like, hey, we turned this assignment in yesterday, and this person didn't turn it in. Please take it out of your backpack and pass it forward if you've got it right now. And then when we maybe have a few extra minutes or the kids are doing some independent work, either myself or my CC teacher will take that paper around and just try to conference with the students individually. So that's what I was saying, that you just have to be in communication with the students a lot more, it seems, to make sure that they're turning in their assignments if they don't turn them in at all. I'm also saying now, if you didn't finish your assignment during class and you're not 100% sure that you're going to finish it when you go home, just turn it in now, because some points are better than no points. I'm also trying to do a lot more structure in my class. I think I've mentioned this before, I normally start with a warm-up and we do some content and then like an independent or small group work assignment. I just feel like I have to be like way more structured with students. So if I didn't want to warm up that day, I'm literally just making up something that's going to be helpful to them, but we're doing a warm-up every day in our notebooks to make sure that's what they know when they do. They're walking in and they're working on their warm-up. I also have been trying to make the lab sheets look more similar so that the students are more confident on how to fill out the lab sheets, and so they know what my expectations are. Usually, like, I've made some of my own labs. I'll use some Flynn labs. I'll use some off the internet labs, but I'm really finding that I'm trying to make the lab papers look as consistent as possible so that the students are giving me better work, I guess I want to say, because they're more familiar with that structure. Oh, and I also did want to mention is I have a really large English language learner population in my class. I would say in my classes are like between 25 and 35. I would say I have at least 5 to 7 English language learners in my classes. And I even have a couple kids that like really don't speak English. So I think just that consistent formatting helps those students be more successful as well. And then, as I mentioned, it's just way more hand holding. Like in the past, I would be like, go ahead and make your own graph. Go, everybody go, do it. I'm recognizing like that they don't have these prior skills. So I'm having to walk them through. How do you look for the biggest value you have? Then you count up the number of boxes, and then you go ahead and you do some division and you figure out how many boxes, like per number or that kind of thing, like the spacing on the axes, the kids just don't know how to do. And again, it's not like you can just show them one time and expect them to be able to do it on the next lab, because they just do not remember. So some more hand holding on instructions and how, again, you should just do things. And then the fourth thing that I've been doing, because it's one of the things that my admin was asking me about, was how are you contacting parents to get the kids to do their work? So one of the things that I'm definitely doing is I have a behavior tracker. And so often a lot of the reason the kids aren't doing their work is because they're misbehaving, A lot of times, though, it's also because they're just refusing to do the work in class. So I have a behavior tracking sheet. It's basically like one for each quarter, but then it's like Monday through Friday. And then I can be like, student refused to work, student refused to work again. And maybe it's not 5 days out of the week, but if you can track and show like, hey, your child's not working 2 days out of every week, then that's probably why they don't have the grade that we want them to have. So I've also been sending emails home and making parent phone calls as well. So I just feel, again, it's like more work than I had to do at my prior school. But again, when my admin says, what are you doing to help the students succeed? That's definitely the things that I'm doing. Just some random other things that I have always done is my kids can retake all their tests and quizzes one time. Sometimes if I notice like a lab, the kids did awful on the post-lab questions, I'll be like, okay, everybody go ahead and fix your post-lab questions. Let's get them in tomorrow. I also offer tutoring after school. So I feel like I've been doing like all of these like normal things that good teachers would do to help out. I just feel like I'm having to go like that extra mile there. I just wanted to mention, you guys, that I'm hoping as I share this episode that it's not like a downer for you. I was hoping that you might recognize, oh, I'm not the only one that's going through this at my school. So sometimes as teachers, we can feel so isolated in our classrooms and think, oh, it must be just me that's experiencing this. If you're experiencing this, it's not just you. It's a lot of other teachers that I know. If you have experienced this, let me know what you're doing to help your students be more successful in your classroom. Also, then, you guys, it would be great if you could join our Facebook page and share your experiences there. We can have some more questions like this going on. I think sometimes it's good to just type in, hey, I'm having trouble with this student or with this concept. And so I think that Facebook page would be a great place for that. Also, if you wanted to join the email list, I'm going to put the link for the Lab Day Starter Kit in the show notes as well. It just has a little collection of things that make your lab days better, has a lab sign-up sheet. It has a pre-lab thing for teachers to work through to make sure that you're super prepared for your lab. It has some lab station joke cards. So it just has some good stuff in there. If you haven't already gotten that, go ahead and join that to sign up for the email list. I swear I haven't sent emails out, I feel like, for the last month, but I'm going to get to it. I'm hoping that Veterans Day gets here and I'll have some time to put in a little more time into this podcast. So go ahead, you guys. Let me know. Like I said, let me know what you've done to help your students. Join that Facebook page and join the email list and get that free Lab Day Starter Kit. And I just also want to remind you, in the show notes, I'm going to put the behavior posters. I made them on Canvas, so it's not like you can edit them, but maybe it can give you some ideas about what you want to put up in your classroom. And then also I'm going to link that behavior tracking page because I'm really liking it. So if you need some ideas for a behavior tracker page or just use the one that I have, then I hope that will be helpful for you. So as always, guys, keep inspiring, keep experimenting, and keep being super awesome in your classrooms. Happy teaching.